curb cores in San Diego County are, generally speaking, not legal to install anymore. And the elevation of a typical drainage job is determined by these curb cores. So the idea behind the outline of the curb cores is they really want a chance for the pollution that gathers on the roof and property to have a chance to filter in to the ground before it goes to the ocean. And so trash makes its way from the roof or the yard through the drainage system, ends up in the gutter, whisks along the concrete culverts and straight to the ocean. But also these elevations hamstring the property for drainage. And so if this is as low as the exit point can be with gravity, it basically only allows for, you know, a quarter inch of slope from the backyard to the front. So the drains are installed essentially flat. So they end up being just full of water all the time. But generally speaking, the contractors will determine the whole design of the drainage by this elevation. The current stormwater regulations also generally prohibit the water from your property going into the watersheds, which seems a little excessive and crazy, but you know, I mean, they also will require you to water these slopes. So they got you if you don't water them, and they got you if you run your stormwater into these watersheds. But on this job, the neighbors have discharge pipes draining into the canyon. So the new customer, of course, would like to do it the same way, but we just can't. We can't do it that way, and the elevation doesn't allow proper slope to the street. So that's why for us, so many of our jobs involve sump pumps. But the sump pumps do more for the house than people think. They're not just for moving the water out. They act as a giant French drain that gets installed right next to the foundation of the house. And also typical on these yards in San Diego is that the entire backyard slopes towards the house. And this is a rental house the customers bought, so we, kind of come in and examine what's going on with the existing drainage. And you got a channel drain here that it's an inch wide, so it'll clog immediately. But then we look for other things that are happening, like a channel drain that's installed over here. Generally speaking, when there's drainage on a job, it's because the owners are trying to solve some sort of problem. So that side of the yard had some sort of problem that they were trying to solve with that channel drain. This channel drain here would be because in a heavy rain, water would flow to this concrete up to the door. And with the slope of the house, of the backyard, sorry, you're clearly angling in substantial grade directly towards the house. Looking at that vertical or horizontal detail on the wall, you can see the slope in the soil. And this concrete is sloped 1 or 2 degrees towards the house. So it's typical with a lot of these houses. It's just horribly set up for drainage. It's got the backyard pointing right at the house. It's got no possibility for slope to the front with gravity. And that's where our methods really come in and shine for people, is we will build French drains that are directed towards sump pumps that will move the water reliably to the street where it has to go according to current stormwater regulations. So we dig the French drains in, and these trenches are sloped towards the sump pit, getting successively deeper. And then the sump basin is almost 3 feet deep. We do the electrical installation. Sometimes we're able to use the old drainage, the discharge lines for our pipes. Once these pipes are established with slope, then we'll lay a fabric at the bottom of the trench and then encase the pipe in gravel. So all this dirt is going back out to the landfill. Sometimes we get lucky in that our 1.5-inch discharge lines for the pumps are able to be used in these existing drainages, which, if I'm correct here, I believe the homeowner had to hire somebody to find the exit of this thing, so we'll cut this open and so it can drain better. This is less than ideal, but still better than running a visible discharge pipe through the landscape. This is the 3/4-inch crushed gravel that will be used to replace all the soil we take out of the trenches. Stormwater regulations are requiring that the roof discharge end on the property and not directly on the street, so that it have a chance to absorb into the landscape before it exits to the curb, where it gathers the litter, takes it to the ocean. The downside of this is that if the exit point for that drain, say, is, or the bottom of this pipe comes through, say, 6 or 8 inches below where the water's flowing out, then what that means is this entire thing is going to be full of water to a point where gravity doesn't allow. In other words, like, probably the last 30 feet of this will always have water in it. So while this is in compliance with the stormwater regulations, it also creates a mosquito trap, and it will related but unrelated is the people with natural grass who are required by the HOA to keep it green, which requires watering to the point where it's running off the sidewalk and into the curb. Completed installation, we finished with gravel. There's the new channel drain installed, patched concrete. And the discharge line goes to the street.